What's up, Renegades? I'm Lupine Fiasco. This is your daily FaB gameplay, and today's game is against Lexi Livewire. For anyone who is new to the channel, welcome. What we do here is review replays of games that I've played on talishar.net days or weeks ago. I will talk through how I would play the turn cycle now, walking you through my thought processes for every line I take. We compare that to what I did in the past and either learn from our mistakes or reinforce good play patterns. Why do we do all this? It is to tighten and optimize our gameplay in the future so we can walk away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. That's the intro. Let's get into sideboard and game plan. Today's game features my Emberblade list. If you would like to check that list out or try it on Talishar yourself, you can find it in the video description below. While you're down there, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Subscribing is the best free way to support me and make sure you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. We have won the die roll. We are going to choose to go second. This is an aggro matchup. We want to put Lexi on the back foot early by defending her opening attack with cards from our hand, drawing up at the end of her turn, then presenting our opening attack that she does not get to easily recover from. She will either take damage to her life directly or defend with cards from hand that prevent her from sending a strong attack back at us. Going second is an easy way to take tempo and run away with the game. Looking at our inventory decisions, we are not going to change a thing. If you watched my video yesterday, you know that I had lamented the fact that I picked Mask of Momentum into this matchup despite going second. We have learned from that mistake. We are going to stick with our Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. We are also going to keep our Flamescale Furnace. The Lexi matchup is very short. We would not expect to get more than one activation out of our Fiendal Spring Tunic, and we are choosing to prioritize the extra 2 life that we get from our Flamescale Furnace. Lexi is a Ranger. As of now, Rangers do not deal arcane damage, so we have no reason to bring in our Spell Void or Arcane Barrier equipment. We're going to stick with our Shuko and our Snapdragon Scalers. Looking at the 60 cards in deck, you can see that this is still an outdated version of the Emberblade list. That should not make a difference as far as evaluating and learning from our gameplay. But you see that Bittering Thorns is in this list. I've since determined that Bittering Thorns is not viable for Emberblade, but we'll see if we could get some value out of it here. For the actual sideboarding, we are going to cut 2 copies of Rise from the Ashes and bring in 3 copies of Command & Conquer, also cutting a Phoenix Flame. Rise from the Ashes is a very strong card in an Emberblade list. It often is 0 for 4, but on an individual turn cycle, is generally the weakest card in our deck, aside from the 3rd copy of Phoenix Flame. This is a short game. We want to get the most offensive value out of every hand, so we want to make sure that we are packing our deck with a density of threats. Rise from the Ashes and Phoenix Flame do not match up to Command & Conquer, so we're cutting them, bringing in our CNCs, and sending our minimum deck of 60 cards. You know the equipment, you know the game plan, you know what we are bringing to deal with the pesky little Ranger. Let's get into gameplay and see how it all comes together. Phoenix Flame goes to discard. We draw up. First things to note about our Lexi are the equipment loadout. Lexi is running Perch Grapplers instead of Snapdragon Scalers. That means she is more defensive, but less likely to really pop off. You saw in yesterday's game the ability of perch grapplers to block an extra breakpoint or chain link was not great for us, but here with Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, the defensive value of perch grapplers is a lot less valuable. We also see that Lexi is running Trench. Our Warmonger's Diplomacies go down in value, as do our Command and Conquers. CNC is still very good against Lexi. Warmonger's Diplomacy can be, we just have to time it a lot better. Overall, I am more likely to block or pitch with a Warmonger's Diplomacy rather than prioritize playing it as I would if Lexi was on Fandal's Spring Tunic. Lexi activating Voltaire, pitching a Command and Conquer. Good to know that Lexi is running CNCs. What are we going to do with our hand? We see, of course, that Bittering Thorns would be better served as a 0-cost attack rather than the 1-cost we see here. We can play our Rising Resentment, we can play our Lava Vein Loyalty. We just then have a choice between playing a Bittering Thorns and ending the turn with Phoenix Flame, or pitching for Emberblade, picking up and playing a Phoenix Flame and arsenaling the Bittering Thorns. Leaving a card in Arsenal to deal comparable damage than if we did not leave a card in Arsenal is always the best play. So we are going to play our Rising Resentment, follow it with Lava Vein Loyalty, Searing Emberblade, and Phoenix Flame. We will arsenal our Bittering Thorns and pass the turn. We are not looking to break Mask of Pouncing Lynx this early in the game. Even if Lexi takes all of this damage, she will be sitting at a comfortable 30 points of life. Pouncing Lynx has the potential to do a lot of damage, but we want to time that damage well. And a Pouncing Lynx for 10 when your opponent is at 40 life is a lot less valuable than a Pouncing Lynx for 5 when your opponent is at 10 life. We do get a block out of Lexi. Lexi bringing in Withering Shot for this matchup. If we were on our Kodachi list, we would be much more afraid of that, but Emberblade is a lot less susceptible to frailty. We're not breaking our Pouncing Lynx, we are just going to arsenal our Bittering Thorns and pass the turn. Drawing into a pretty poopy hand. Lexi pitching a Rain Razors is something we love to see. Coming in with Bolt and Shot for 5 with no reason to block. We also don't want to block this turn if we can avoid it. We have a hand of all reds, so it's going to be pretty expensive to play this out. We are looking to pitch to our Furnace, which means we want to keep cards in hand. Second, Phoenix Flame is the absolute worst card in our deck. We do not want to draw it ever, but we want it in our deck for Flame Call Awakenings. So the easiest way to get rid of it here is just to pitch it. We will pitch Phoenix Flame to play our Bittering Thorns from Arsenal. We can then pitch a Lava Burst or a Ronin Renegade to the Flamescale Furnace to generate 2 resources and attack with Command and Conquer. Because we have Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, I am less inclined to keep finishers in Arsenal. I would rather have a starter. Now, having a finisher in Arsenal really sets up for a double finisher turn, but we have a high density of finishers in our deck. We are likely to draw into more. We would rather have a Draconic starter in Arsenal. So we'll play Bittering Thorns, pitch the Phoenix Flame, pitch Lava Burst to the Flamescale Furnace, and attack with Command and Conquer. Bittering Thorns does prompt Lexi to block pretty aggressively, getting Hornet Sting and a Bolt and Shot. Obviously, this means that our Command and Conquer is only coming for 6 rather than 7, but getting Lexi to block early means that she is not going to block this Command and Conquer. Lexi choosing not to activate the trench is fine with us. Either way, Lexi loses that card from Arsenal. We are just going to set our Ronin Renegade in Arsenal and pass the turn to Lexi. Lexi drawing into 3 of a kind, pretty good, but without anything in Arsenal, the power of this turn is fairly minimal. Lexi coming in with Heat Seeker with Go Again. And looking at what we have here in hand, we have a Ronin Renegade in Arsenal, 2 Blaze Headlongs, and a Snatch. With our 3 Draconic Links, we can pick up and play a Phoenix Flame, then end our turn on a Snatch. We don't need Enlightened Strike here. So I am happy to block this Heat Seeker with an Enlightened Strike and a Flamescale Furnace. We know that Lexi cannot play an Ice Quake or an Arctic Incarceration or any sort of disruptive ice card because of the effect of 3 of a kind. If she did follow this Heat Seeker with a Hamstring Shot, that does have the potential to be pretty bad for us. But even then, our hand is still going to look something like Ronin Renegade, Blaze Headlong, Snatch. That's a fine turn cycle, and I'm happy to risk it. Lexi instead coming in with Infecting Shot for 6. That is just vanilla damage, and we're happy to take it. Talishar with a bit of a graphical bug here. We do pick up a Bloodrot Pox from that Infecting Shot, leaving us at an effective 19 health. But we are going to throw a lot more damage at Lexi than she was able to throw at us. Ronin Renegade, Blaze Headlong, Phoenix Flame, Snatch. Lexi is at the point now where I am looking to get value out of Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. My floor for Mopple is 6. That is Lava Burst or Saltamoon plus Shuko plus Art of War. Something more than just a basic Lava Burst for 5. I'm considering breaking it here. Lexi giving us Trench to stop this Phoenix Flame lets us throw a Snatch. And if this Snatch goes unblocked, I am going to snap it, and I am going to break Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. There are a number of cards that Snatch can draw us that just go in our arsenal. Any 1-cost card, another Command and Conquer, Warmonger's Diplomacy might be a bit of a stinker. We do draw into a blue, which is not ideal, but it is going to let us attack with our Searing Emberblade. And because we're breaking Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, we can pick up a Salt the Wound. So we do still manage to get a bit of value out of our Snatch draw, even if it wasn't the ideal thing to draw. Pitching Soul Weed Strike for Searing Emberblade. We'll see if Lexi wants to block it, and she chooses not to. We get to throw a Salt the Wound for 8 points of damage. It gets the Shuko trigger, and Lexi can block a bit of damage, go down to 7, and give up a Remorseless and a blue. So feeling pretty good about that turn cycle. Drawing into an Art of War here with 3 blues is a bit weird. We are going to play out the Art of War, so we are not going to block this Remorseless. We are going to give it our Furnace, as Lexi is low enough on life where this Art of War could potentially end the game. But because we have all blues, we don't need the Furnace for its ability. Blocking here may be a bit excessive. I am playing scared of taking too much damage from the Remorseless. Lexi living through the Art of War and us falling low enough on life that now we need to block more aggressively than we'd like to, but I don't know if blocking with the Furnace here is necessarily correct. If I was making this call now, I think I would prefer to keep it around, just in case we need to stop something like an infecting shot, a searing shot. Drawing into another Warmonger's Diplomacy is not great, but not terrible. We do have our Draconic Starter, so we can lead with a Rising Resentment, follow it with our Searing Emberblade, pitch one of our 2 remaining Warmonger's Diplomacies to activate FaB and attack with a Phoenix Flame, and end the turn with a Warmonger's Diplomacy. We don't catch Lexi with any sort of face-down card in Arsenal, as Warmonger's Diplomacy does not have the ability to just end her turn, but it means that Lexi cannot catch up in this game with something like a Codex of Frailty or a 3 of a kind. If she wants to play an Arctic Incarceration to try to take tempo back from us, she doesn't get to throw any attacks first, she just gets to disrupt, and that is good enough for us. So while we aren't getting maximum value out of this Warmongers, we are going to get some out of it. Now what we're seeing here is fantastic. Lexi having 2 non-blocks in hand and needing to pitch a Rainrazor to play a defensive Art of War is just great for us. Seeing the Lexi low roll as a FaB player is just so gratifying. Lexi draws into 2 cards that she does not want to block with, so she is going to give us the Perch Grapplers on defense. She is going to need to spend a card to block this Phoenix Flame, and she does. And we get to play out our Warmonger's Diplomacy. We play the Warmonger's Diplomacy. Lexi here chooses Peace. We, of course, are going to choose War, and we pass the turn. So we can expect an Arctic Incarceration or a Winter's Bite from Lexi. There really is no reason that she would want to keep. There really is no reason that she would want to choose Peace if she wasn't going to play something disruptive, and we see her even pitch to Voltaire just to clear out the hand. Lexi plays Arctic Incarceration, keeps a Command and Conquer in Arsenal, and passes the turn to us. We do get lucky in that we draw a blue so that we can pay for our Ronin Renegade, but we just don't have much else to do with this hand. We catch Lexi with another Rainrazor Art of War hand. Just chef's kiss. Seeing the absolute low roll out of Lexi is a feeling that cannot be replicated. We're just going to pitch these 2 Lava Vein Loyalties to a Searing Emberblade. I don't agree with this decision. I think playing one of the Lava Bursts for 2 is enough to get cards out of Lexi's hand. There's an argument that maybe Lexi only has 2 block, non-attack actions in hand, so she would take 1 point of damage from the Emberblade. But I'm willing to chance it and arsenal a Lava Burst. Maybe Lexi keeps a blue, and this Command and Conquer is relevant, but I don't think we're getting enough value out of this pitch to Emberblade to justify throwing away a potential 5-card hand. And in fact, we do see Lexi just pass the turn. There isn't much information we can gain from this as far as did we make the right call in pitching our 2 Lava Bursts as opposed to playing one and arsenaling the other. But I do think if I was to make this call again, I would do it differently. Checking our discard and banish just to make sure that our 2nd Phoenix Flame is in our deck. Indeed it is. So we're going to open with a Branded Cinderclaw, pitch a Flamecall Awakening to play a Flamecall Awakening, which is going to let us fetch our Phoenix Flame from discard. We can play a Phoenix Flame, activate FaB, play a Phoenix Flame, The second Phoenix Flame will have a Shuko buff, which doesn't matter here. Lexi taking the first Phoenix Flame to go down to 1. We throw Phoenix Flame for 2 and end our chain with Snatch for 4. Snatch going to get a card from hand and the New Horizon, which is also going to get Lexi's Arsenal, and leading us to a very clean win. Lexi throwing the good game, losing the New Horizon, losing the Arsenal, and losing the game. I wanted to show this as a compliment to our Lexi game yesterday. Of course, quite a bit was different as far as this Lexi drawing a series of non-blocks on turns of ours that really weren't even that impressive. Lexi having to spend a lot of cards to block a Rising Resentment or a Searing Emberblade. But we can see that we were much better served by Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, getting us 8 points of damage off of a decently sized turn. We can see that we were able to utilize our Disruption well by sequencing it after priority attacks that Lexi felt like she needed to block. So I did not play this game after reviewing yesterday's. These two games did come without any real introspection, but we can see how I unintentionally utilized the lessons that we learned and put them to very good use. So hopefully this is something that we can all take with us into our Pro Quests this weekend, knock all those nasty Lexis out of contention, and walk away with some shiny cardboard of our own. I very much hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you learned something from it. And I hope you, too, enjoyed seeing just how poorly a Lexi can draw. If you liked this game, if you learned something from it, or if you just enjoyed seeing me bully a Lexi, go ahead and smash that like button for me. My comments are always open if you have any questions, if you have any feedback for me. I love engaging with all of you, and I love seeing your enthusiasm for FaB. Join me again tomorrow. I will have another video ready for you, and until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.